LG has launched G3 as successor to their previously acclaimed LG G2. Of all the flagship launches, LG G3 is the most awaited flagship of this year. Hi, this is Gaurav and here is the mighty LG G3. The G3 is definitely till now the most compact device with a 5.5-inch screen. No doubt that the LG has mastered designing the compact devices with the bigger screens. LG G3 has followed the G2 design concept with a complete keyless sides. The power key and the volume rocker has been placed behind just like the G2. Above that, we have a 13MP camera with a OIS and a 4K video recording, dual LED flash, laser autofocus system for the accurate and a faster camera focus 7 in the low light. Bottom left we have the 1-watt speaker along with the LG logo. Bottom of the G3 has a micro USB port, primary microphone and 3.5mm audio jack. On the top side we have secondary microphone and infrared emitter. The front side is almost completely occupied with the display with very minimalistic bezels. Here we have the earpiece, different sensors, 2.1MP front camera and LED notification light. The G3 has a removable back panel. We can see here that it's equipped with a wireless charging and NFC. The battery is 3.8 volt and the capacity is 3000 mAh. It's also user replaceable. Here is a combined slot for micro SIM and a micro SD card. The LG G3 is ready to handle micro SD XC cards up to 128 GB. Even though the G3 is completely built in plastic, the LG has given a unique matte finish which also feels and looks like brushed metal. The major advantage is this material provides amazing grip and it's almost fingerprint proof. The G3 has the fastest chip from Qualcomm, which is the Snapdragon 8974AC clocked at 2.45 GHz and falls under the 801 series. There is a 2GB of RAM in 16GB edition and a 3GB of RAM in 32GB edition. We have the 32GB edition. Out of 32GB, the user gets around 25GB out of the box. It's possible to move apps to SD card from internal storage. This is a big relief for users who will opt the 16GB edition. We found that generally around 1.3GB of RAM is always consumed out of the 2.8GB RAM available to the user by the device post booting the phone. The display has 5.5-inch QHD resolution. The colors are quite natural and has great viewing angles. The IPS display has great brightness but a very average daylight legibility. We also noticed that the display has over sharpening effect and doesn't feel as natural as Full HD screen. In call quality, we are definitely quite impressed with the performance of earpiece. It's crystal clear and quite loud. Basically, it's perfect for Indian outdoor conditions when most of the time in metro cities we have quite noisy outdoor environments. Even though we can only see 2 visible mics, LG claims that LG G3 has multiple mics for better noise reduction. We didn't find the in-call noise reduction is as good as the LG has used in their Nexus 5, but other party always had super voice quality for all our test calls. The loudspeaker is seriously quite loud for a single mono speaker and it doesn't distort even at the full volumes. We are definitely quite impressed by the 1-watt speaker performance of G3. The LG G3 is quite fantastic in music playback. In fact, it's one of the best music playback device when connected to active stereo amplifier. When connected to our test headphones like Bose QC20, we found that headphone amp output is not very loud, but G3 is able to provide sufficient output to high impedance headphones. Generally, with normal headphones, you won't have any issues with amp output, and we found it is quite loud enough with most of the in-ear phones. Just like the G2, the LG G3 is able to play any video file regardless of its type. The MKV files with the AC3 codec also played well. The built-in video player also has subtitle support out of the box. LG G3 has 3.8 volt 3000 mAh battery, but unlike G2, which was definitely a battery champ, the G3 provides just a day's battery backup with around 3 to 4 hours of screen on time. While testing the battery, we had 2 email IDs configured Facebook and Twitter was running in the background with around 2 hours of voice calls. The G3 has 13 MP camera with optical image stabilization, which is more improved compared to the OIS used by LG in G2 and also the G Pro 2. The camera also comes with a laser autofocus system, which is actually an infrared system. We found that the results from 13 MP camera are quite accurate in colors, contrast and exposure. LG has improved their noise reduction algorithm, but still we miss the fine details in 100% crops. That aggressive noise reduction comes at a cost, and at 100% crops we found that the finer details are having oil painting effect. The G3 also has improved HDR mode and clicks great panoramas. The new autofocus system provides multi-point AF and it's even further improved compared to its predecessor. This camera also records 4K UHD videos at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 30 frames per second and 720p at 120 frames per second, the latter being its slow motion video mode. The 4K videos captured by LG G3 are of the same great quality we found with the still images, great exposure and contrast, accurate colors and a high level of details. The new autofocus system and OIS took care of any focus and stability issues, while the Snapdragon 801 processor had no problem churning out solid 30 fps during recording with a matching 30 Mbps bitrate. Audio recording bitrate was at 156 kbps with stereo recording at 48 kHz. We think that LG has added a noise filter to suppress background hums, but also make certain frequencies sound a bit off. Overall, we are quite impressed with the camera performance of LG G3 in both imaging and video modes. On synthetic benchmarks like Antutu, LG G3 is not able to outperform Galaxy S5, OnePlus One or HTC M8. But the major reason behind this is that LG G3 has to drive the Quad HD display, unlike the Galaxy S5, HTC One M8 or OnePlus One, which all have just Full HD screens. But still, LG G3 scored between 27,000 to 30,000 scores on Antutu, which is definitely a good score considering the 2K screen which it needs to drive well. At mysmartprice.com, we believe more on actual end user experience than just the high scores in the synthetic benchmarks. We found out that G3 is quite smooth device. User may find very little stutter in user interface if lots of applications are open. But we are confident that LG will sort out the small stutter issues in UI with the firmware updates. The LG G3 has definitely great specifications for a true flagship along with a great user experience. The device is getting launched in India very soon along with the Indian LTE bands, which are band 40, that's TD LTE 2300 MHz and FD LTE 1800 MHz. The expected price for 32GB edition is Rs 49,900 and for 16GB it is 46,900. Thanks for watching the LG G3 review by mysmartprice.com.